My name is Sabila Khan, and I lost my father, Shafqat Khan, to COVID. And I couldn't be with him in his final days. Not when he spent 3 days in a war zone of an ER only 3 blocks away from us here in Jersey City, New Jersey. Not when his heart stopped 4 days after that on April 14th. I couldn't even be with him when he was buried. Instead, in what was the most surreal experience of my life, I watched Abu's burial live streamed on FaceTime. I couldn't be there for my Abu, and it tears me apart because he was the truest example of a solid, reliable, and good human being. Abu's interest in politics would strike many as odd, given the fact that we were undocumented throughout the 1980s and into the early 90s. Many years later, I asked him why he spent so much time reading about candidates and platforms and political parties and encouraging others to vote when he himself couldn't vote in a presidential election until 2000. He explained to me that the politics of a nation impacted everyone in that nation, documented or not. And by educating himself on all things political, he was preparing himself for that first time he cast a ballot. When I was growing up, he often said to me that we were more alike than different. That at the end of the day, we're all working towards the same goals. We want to keep food on the table for our families, and we want opportunities for our kids. The fact that I couldn't be there for this gem of a man, this gift to my family and the community, will haunt me for the rest of my life. While I'm sure grief is always difficult, grief during a pandemic is complicated. It's overwhelming. It's devastating. It's more than grief. It's trauma. At a time when our country is more divided than it's ever been before, our group has become a space where members of our traumatized community can support each other, regardless of their political affiliations. Because here's the thing, COVID doesn't care if you're a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent. It doesn't care who you're voting for in November. It's an equal opportunity killer. I don't want this virus to rip apart and traumatize any more families than it already has. My Abu, Shafqat Khan, is more than a number. He's more than a political talking point. He's more than fodder for COVID deniers. He was Pakistani, he was an expat, he was undocumented, and finally, he was a proud American citizen. He was a community organizer, and he was an advocate for others. And I promise to keep his legacy alive.